Hello, I hope you and your family are well today. We are back to learning again about jobs. A little bigger so you can see me. So, in the other videos, we've been looking at jobs. We've been looking at names of jobs, places of work, and duties, things that people do in their jobs. Today, we're looking at one job. Do you know? Can you look at the picture and think about this job? Maybe you can read the words. A chef. So we'll be looking at a chef today, practicing reading simple sentences about a chef, reading and understanding questions about a chef, and writing simple sentences about a chef. Please remember to pause the video when you want to read for a little bit longer, more slowly perhaps, and to write down answers to questions. You will need pen or pencil and paper to write down your answers. So let's start. So the first thing I would like you to do is to match words and pictures. We have 5 pictures. They have numbers 1 to 5. And we have words in blue. So let's see if you can work out what those words are first. So you will need to pause the slide and you will need to match. Look at the picture. For example, picture 1. Which of those blue answers, A to D, A to E even, match that picture? Have you found it yet? Yes, it's D, 1D, cook, food. And you can see what she's doing in the picture. Yes, she's cooking, cook, food. So 1D go together. So see if you can match numbers 2 to 5 with the other blue words. You will need to pause to write down your answers and to read. So pause now. Okay, how did you do? Number 2. Did you read the time? What time is it? Yes, you should have had E. 11 o'clock. So 2 and E go together. What about number 3? You should have had B, free B, restaurant. Free and B go together. And what time is number 4? Yes, it's A, 4A, 5 o'clock. And then the final picture we looked at in slide 1. Yes, chef. 5 and C go together. How did you do? Okay, we're going to now look at reading, and you will see some of those words in this text. So this, what's her job? Yes, she's a chef, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. Let's read together, and then you can pause and read again. Hello, I'm Sally. I'm a chef. I work in a restaurant. I cook food. I start work at 5 o'clock and finish at 11 o'clock. I work on Saturday and Sunday evenings. Okay, so pause now and read that again on your own, or maybe with someone, another member of your family or friend, slowly, and then play again, press that button again when you want to continue to the next slide. Okay, so some more reading now, but it's all the same as the slide before, so you can check if you need to the slide before. So this time, it's not pictures and sentences, it's sentence halves. So these sentences have been cut into half, and you have to match the two halves, the blue parts of the sentence and the red parts of the sentence. And if you notice that the blue parts of the sentence are the start of the sentence, and they have numbers 1 to 6. And then the red words are the second part of the sentence, and they have letters A to F. So you need to match the numbers and the letters. So for example, if we put together 1 and A, I'm at 5 o'clock. Doesn't sound good, does it? That's not correct. Which of these words do you think matches I'm a? Yes, that's correct. I'm a chef. Okay, I'm a chef. So 1 and D go together. If you've noticed, we have an A there as well. We don't need 2 A's. Just 1 A is fine. Okay, we've got that A here. Okay, only 1 A needed there. So 1 D. So pause now and see if you can match those sentence halves. Write the number and the letter. Okay, so let's see if we can match them. How did you do? Well, we did the first one. I'm a chef, so 1 D, match. And number 2, I work, should match with F. I work in a restaurant. Number 3, I cook. What does that match? Yes, B. I cook food. And number 4, I start work. Yes, should be A for A at 5 o'clock. And number 5, I finish work. Yes, E at 11 o'clock. And the last one, number 6. 6C, I work on Saturday and Sunday evenings. Now, number 2 and number 6 are the same starts, so it doesn't matter if you put number 6 matching could match C or F, and number 2 could match C or F. Okay. How did you do? And there we've got the text again, if you want to check again and read through. And now we've got another activity, so lots and lots of reading of this text. But this is really good. This is things that we've been practicing over the last few videos. So what I would like you to do is to pause the video in a moment and fill in the missing words. And you've got the number of letters that are missing to make a word. So, for example, we start, hello, I'm Sally, I'm a, can you remember, job? Do you remember how to spell that word? Yes, it's chef, C-H-E-F. So on your paper, you need to write down chef. Now, the spelling may be difficult, so you can always go back, reverse the video, go back, rewind, and check if you wish. So you will need to pause for quite a long time for this activity. So pause now. Let's check your answers. So she says, hello, I'm Sally. I'm a chef. So this is the word that you should have written down first. And then the next word that was missing was I work in a restaurant. And then the next word, I cook food. So this was the word you should have written on paper. I start work at 5 o'clock and finish at 11 o'clock. So those 2 times you should have written down. I work on Saturday. So Saturday was missing. You should have written that down on paper too. And Sunday evenings. So pause again if you want to read and check your answers. And we'll go to the next slide. Now we have some questions about that text. You've been doing lots of reading. So now you're going to practice reading questions and writing down the answer. Okay. So we're going to have a look at the first question. What's her job? And here you're going to write the missing word. She's a. Number 2, where does she work? Notice that word where. Do you remember what that means? The place. She works in a, again, you need to write down the answer. What does she do? She cooks. What does she cook? Write the answer. Number 4, what time does she start? She starts work at, do you remember the time she starts? What time does she finish? She finishes work at, again, you're looking for the time. Does she work at the weekend? So this word, do you know what this means? The answer is either going to be no or yes. So pause now and see if you can write down those answers. So for example, number 1, what's her job? She's a chef. That's right. So you need to write number 1 on your paper and chef. See if you can answer the other questions. Okay, how did you do? So we've got the answers in red, if you want to check. What's her job? She's a chef. Where does she work? She works in a restaurant. So where is a question word for place. And here we have the place, a restaurant. What does she do? She cooks food. What time does she start? She starts work at 5 o'clock. That's the answer in red, 5 o'clock. So number 4 is 5 o'clock. And number 5, same question, what time, question words, but does she finish? She finishes work at 11 o'clock. That's very late, isn't it? Does she work at the weekend? Now, this word weekend, did you understand? It's talking about Saturday and Sunday. Yes, she does. Okay, so just pause again and check your answers. Okay, well done for doing all that reading and writing. Let's just have a little look at some of the grammar. We've looked at some of these things before. So, do you remember man or woman? If you think about the picture at the beginning, it was a woman. So we use this word her. The job belongs to her. It's not my job, it's her job. And here we have another pronoun to use for a woman or a girl, she. She's a chef. And remember, we shorten she is to she's. We've done lots of practice of that in the last videos. She's a chef. And with the question, we've got this word does. Where does she work? Okay. She works in a restaurant. Don't forget this verb work. We add an S. When we're talking about somebody else, a man or a woman, he or she, your husband or your wife, or your son or your daughter, we add S to the verb. And we use this word does. What does she do? Again, she cooks food. Notice the S at the end. What time does she start? She starts with an S at the end. What time does she finish? She finishes. Now, when a word has an SH at the end, or a CH, so a sh or a ch, we add this ES, and it sounds like is, finishes. Maybe you need to practice saying that. Finishes. She finishes work at 11 o'clock. And then we have this word does again for the question. Does she work at the weekend? This is a yes-no question. It starts with a does. Yes, she does. Okay, pause and just look at that again, and then we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay, now it's your turn. We've talked about a chef. We've talked about the lady in our text and her job. She's a chef. And about her place of work. She works in a restaurant. And her duties. She cooks food. And her time of work. She starts at 5 o'clock and finishes at 11 o'clock. So this time I would like you to talk about your job. And things are going to change a little bit. The grammar you use is going to be different when you're talking about I. So for example, the first question says, what's your job? Not what's his job or her job, what's your job? Well, I'm going to give you my answer. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. So there were some changes there. We used I am, I'm. I'm a teacher. And we've looked at this before. Where do you work? So remember where, talking about place, asking about place. I work in a college. I work in a college. Notice that work doesn't have an S at the end. She works in a restaurant. I work in a college. So no S on the verb. What do you do? I teach English. I teach English. Notice the verb, no S on the end of the verb. She cooks food. I teach English. Okay, so just be very careful when you write some sentences about your job. And then I would like you to write some sentences about your brother or your sister or your son or your daughter. So we've got, what's your sister's job? For me, she is a secretary. Yes, she's a secretary. I'm a teacher. She's a secretary. Where does she work? She works in an office. I work in a college. She works in an office. What does she do? She uses a computer. She uses a computer. I teach English. She uses a computer. She types letters. So, pause and write your sentences. This is now the end of the lesson. So I hope that you understood what I taught and you can write sentences about your life, yourself and your family. Bye-bye.